I know when I've been at the courthouse, and I've spent a fair amount in your office for business. You've got two different offices, one across the hall, one where dispatch is actually located, or your office is actually located. There's really not room even for the independent deputies are oftentimes sitting very out in the open, making reports and typing reports. So it is a very difficult situation at the present time.
That's correct. You know, there was a time it was very adequate, but times have changed. The data privacy things have changed. An example is the office that I'm personally in. I can't have people come in and talk to me because there is really no privacy to be able to discuss issues with people. And a lot of people come and want to speak in private to the sheriff, and we either have to leave the office completely and go upstairs, or ask other people that are working to leave the office, and that's not right either. So there are things that, you know, we definitely need to address, and I believe the citizenry is ready to do that. That they feel law enforcement is an important aspect. We feel we can, with cost savings and things coming ahead with these other projects going on, that we would be able to service the debt and not impose a burden on the tax-paying citizens. So I feel it's a promising thing going forward.
Have you consulted at all? One of the things I know that our forum is involved with is trying to have cooperation with Millbank, Big Stone City, and in the Sheriff's Department. Do you think any of those things are possibilities that you could work out maybe with those communities as well?
Well, with Big Stone City, of course, we dispatch for them already. We provide backup. They provide backup for us. We have a good working relationship with Chief Gergen in Big Stone. He has an office in his city office. One thing that does cause a difficulty, as we all know, is that imaginary line in our minds of the state lines, and that causes some difficulties, and that's something Ortonville's always going to face, is that we're up against that state line wall that makes it difficult. Other than in some areas, you know, we do a lot of collaboration and cooperation. In a physical plant being together, it's going to be difficult, with Millbank being the county seat there and Ortonville the county seat over here. People like to keep those structures together.
But at the same time, you have a good working relationship in Grant County, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's shown very well in the fact that we house our prisoners over there. There was court action had to be taken to make that available because of the state line, and that was worked out, and that has served both of us very well. It keeps his jail, you know, up to the numbers to keep it viable, and it provides us a close and the most reasonable jail location that we have.
And I most certainly like to see that. I think that these three communities no longer can, with declining populations in both of the both counties, and the way the situation seems to be going, it seems to me that the more cooperative that we can be with Grant County and Big Stone City, the better off all three of these four of these communities are going to be.
Absolutely. Like you said, declining populations, people are taxed to the max. And that's where, as we look at this consolidated dispatching with Candy Ojai, that's what that is eyed toward, is starting to take these counties that have 5,000 people, where a county such as Candy Ojai with 45,000, they have the exact same infrastructure that we have. So why have this, you know, all these little systems out there that can be brought together, especially because of technology? You know, you aren't left out there, you know, the phone call comes in and the arrow is on the map, you know, and so it helps take the place of that local knowledge that we're always afraid of losing. The technology can replace a lot of that for us, and that's where the cooperations, you know, and we're definitely eyeing all of these things. We would love to try and eliminate that state line in between because of Ortonville and Millbank being so close together.
And I have to give you credit for that. I know in the past you've tried to bring some of these things together, and even if it doesn't work, at least you're not closed-minded to those opportunities, and I have to give you credit for that. You know, I think you're doing a really good job in being looking at the technology and the need for a new law enforcement center. I mean, I think back when I started the practice of law, we had typewriters.
Yep, and that was the same when I started in law enforcement. Typewriters, and there was no such thing as a cell phone. Email, that was not existing. And these are all the things that we're grasping, and we're trying here now. What we're really trying is to be out front. For so long, you know, here in Big Stone County, we were always kind of dragged along behind. And actually, we have a lot of people, the county board, they're very, you know, open to the technology, and they want to see Big Stone County out front. And that's why we feel now is the time, because we have a lot of people that are thinking the same way, willing to think outside the box, and let's get out front. And in the long run, you know, there's some putting into this system now. There's a little bit of expense, but in the long run, it streamlines and becomes more economical. It's just, let's get out front.
And, you know, probably the last question I would ask you, in doing that, when you're talking about the dispatching, you know, when you and I started, an idea of dispatching was a CB radio in a car in one location. And what was the distance of those CB, John? Do you know?
Yeah, you know, I know, like, well, when my father first started in law enforcement, it was the red light over Main Street. And then there was then it went to a dispatch. And now we're going back to going the other way here. It's all these things kind of come in a full circle. And it's the greatest fear everybody has is simply the change itself. And I know what will happen is 10 years from now, people will be, if they're upset about something, it'll be the fact that why hadn't we done it 20 years earlier? You know, it's just, it's always facing the change. And luckily right now, the staff that I have, they're willing to confront the change and grab it by the horns and go with it, and let's make it work. And I think we're in a unique situation right now that we have a lot of people that are willing to, let's make the step forward and let's make this work. There will be pain, there is no doubt, but there is always pain with gain. But we're willing to face that and work through the bugs. We've been planning all aspects of this for 18 months now, and we're ready to go forward.
Well, keep us posted on how things are going on the project, on all three of these projects, and from time to time we may have you back in and tell the public from your own voice instead of somebody else trying to tell us what's going on. But we want it straight from the horse's mouth, and we want to thank you for coming in and exploring and telling us what's going on out there in Big Stone County and in your department. And
thanks for the time, Ron. And anytime somebody has a question, please ask. Don't wonder, come and ask, because it's generally it's rooted in good, sound thought process, and we are also willing to listen to people because we do miss things now and then. So thanks, Ron.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.